Hey everyone, I hope all is well. I hope you're doing good this holiday season. And if you've listened to any of my videos in the past, you probably know that I am very passionate about not shopping on Amazon, as well as not supporting Amazon and selling your books and all of that stuff on there. Some people have had stuff published for a long time where Amazon is, for example, like a third-party distributor. So if you go through some form of self-publishing agency, they will do third-party distribution through something like a Barnes and Noble and Amazon. The company that I went through, I did self-publish. When I self-published my book a long time ago, which I've made like no money on, the company actually never even paid me. So literally I've made no money, and I paid them for work, and then I paid them for additional work to do a cookbook, and then COVID happened and they lost all their files, and then I just lost a couple grand. So anyways, when you are, so with Amazon, for example, with the third-party distribution that I did, their main distributor was lulu.com, which does print on demand. So they get an order, they print the book. They don't have like thousands of books sitting in a warehouse waiting to be bought and shipped. So that is a good beneficial thing for self-published authors, but it also jacks up the price because everything is done on a one-on-one basis, and it's not being bulk purchased, which is why corporations have the ability to cut down on a lot of pricing, is because they're doing bulk buys, which is reducing the cost. But I wanted to share, like, one of the reasons why I also hate Amazon is because they are so awful to the independent person. So through that third-party distribution, the book on Lulu is $23. So if somebody ordered the book through Amazon, I don't remember, I think it actually does go back to Lulu to get published, but Amazon kept like 98% of the royalty and only paid me 3 cents. 3 cents, like what in modern times can you do with 3 cents, and why is it's not even worth your time at that point? But I am very passionate about being against and not supporting a company which is a behemoth like Amazon, also because I've seen the destruction of what they've done to Seattle. I've seen the replacement of, a semi-awakened, really caring culture get hijacked by tech colonization and pushed out all your normal working people like myself. And now that the only people that can really exist in the city are your jet setter, wealth seekers, and your tech people. So you're really looking at, a lot of financials, bankers, which we don't have a lot of banking here, but we have a lot of biotech. So you have, a lot of these biotech scientists and tech people. And, it's a very dry, very logical, like no emotional type of personality that has come into this beautiful place and has raped, pillaged, and plundered our local culture and community. So fuck Jeff Bezos. But anyways, I recently looked at the picture of Virginia, the second headquarters, which is in Virginia, and then I saw this meme go around, which is the thumbnail of this video, which is showing the Amazon new headquarters to look very similar to the Tower of Babel. So if you are not getting it at this point, and I've sent this shit to some of my Christian friends, and they still are like, whatever, they kind of roll their eyes, even though they don't want to work for Amazon, because they were also photographed or videotaped, while being a driver. So they didn't like being surveilled for 24 hours. But if it's not evidently clear by now, especially because Jeff Bezos owns, the Washington Post, which is part of our media. He's been a part of the Bilderberg conferences, the whole thing with Whole Foods and a lot of the scams that have been going on with Whole Foods. Has had scams for a long period of time. I don't shop there unless it's absolutely necessary. But yeah, it's becoming this bigger behemoth. And when I've mentioned this to other people, especially like people in the truth community, they get really offended by this. And I really don't, I don't understand why people are getting offended by this, because in order to cultivate a well and a healthy society, or well and healthy person in a community, it is a holistic system. It's not just eating a bunch of raw food and then injecting yourself with a bunch of toxic chemicals. It doesn't, you will destroy your health doing that, okay? So it's the same thing. We need to be building our own systems and platforms to be able to financially support ourselves throughout this this industry, or this time frame where we have to have money to survive. I actually want to do a separate video on this, but if you think about it, life is all free. Like life, the way that God has created life and has given us the ability to farm and plant a bunch of, food and stuff like that. Like in reality, life is free. It's just the structure of the system has kept us in this money-based cycle. And so everybody is doing what they can to survive and, generate their own income. So I don't blame people for that. But in reality, it's like being a truther and then putting your book on Amazon because there's millions of eyes there. It's like you might as well just inject yourself with a bunch of toxic chemicals, because it's like you're still codependent or supportive on the beast in the system that is not doing good. So when you look at the Amazon headquarters, it actually, I have in the thumbnail, it actually looks like the Tower of Babel. I'm not an expert in that area, but I have heard that, Nimrod was the first kind of Mason builder in time, and that has gone through to today. So we cannot forget that the Masons are the builders and the architects of society, and they've also become the spiritual builders in this sense as well. So it does just look like the Tower of Babel, right? But if you actually go and look at or research a little bit of what Amazon headquarters is, it is actually supposed to mimic a double helix. So I'll just kind of play this in the background.
Meeting with Jeff,
I don't know if you can see this.
HQ2. He said to me then, he goes, John, I really want to make it difficult. I really want it to be something that is so unique and has never been done before. And it's just like raise the bar and just dig in and do it.
The helix is based on a very simple geometric form, the double helix. We looked to that form because we saw an opportunity to create a unique experience. So I hope it comes alive with human activity.
So, the double helix obviously has a lot of, it's in the medical world, it's our DNA. In the biomedical world, it's, that helix is also the symbol of, supposedly some people say it's the Kundalini rising. That helix form is part of that. The two snakes rising up, that would be kind of, I guess, considered the Kundalini rising, but also it's the symbol to our medical system. And so if you've known anything about what's been going on in the medical community over the last few years, a lot of this has to do with gene editing. And I have been placed to teach fitness at a Blackstone property. Well, the building is owned by Blackstone, and so you have biotech companies that work there. So I kind of pick these people's brains because I'm just very curious, what they think, and I tend to believe that I've been put in a lot of life situations to learn about people's or just to learn a lot of life lessons, to kind of start connecting the dots or fill in the missing puzzle pieces to this greater picture that I'm trying to understand. And so, a lot of these people, they're scientists in terms of gene editing. And so the double helix has had a massive amount of symbolism. I don't know if that's the word, or a pool, especially if you look at what the the COVID, injection has done. I have to be careful with my language. So I do want to post this video link down below, but the funniest part is YouTube has changed their platform agreements and such again. And so while my channel is on strike for 90 days, I'm not able to upload any links, or they might just show the first part of the link and not the full thing. I have to go back on the back end and see what or why, but because my channel wasn't in good standing because I had a strike against my channel from one of the Maui videos that got flagged. I have not been able, you're not able, I don't think now, to see a bunch of full links. So I do have to go back. I think I read something that like I have to take a photo, and I'm like, I'm really like sketchy on that. If I have to take any verification photo of anything, I don't want to do it, but I'll try to figure it out. But it cannot, I just don't think it can be any more evidently clear. And I don't understand why humans tend to sit on the fence. This is just how we've been kind of brainwashed a lot in America. And I'm not going to say I haven't been there, because I have been, but throughout the last almost 4 years now, a lot of us who thought we were awake got really awakened or snapped out of whatever we were in, and really started to understand this deeper level and layer of life, especially if you're starting to listen to SRA victim stories. So it's really important to minimize this, because once again, if we keep supporting these awful abusive industries, we all are going to get sucked into working for the one giant employer. I mean, even something like our pharmacies are getting bought out. Like, for example, I talked about this before, but like our Bartels got bought out by Rite Aid. And then I think I heard like CVS or Walgreens bought out Rite Aid. And so all of our Bartels are closing. Some of that has to do with a lot of the theft and inventory loss. But it's kind of like Pac-Man. It's like the bigger one is just continuously eating the smaller one, or the big fish is constantly eating the smaller fish, and these things are just getting bigger and bigger and owned by the one thing. So it's going to take a lot of discipline and a lot of willpower and sticking to your dignity to be like, I can't support and do this. That's why I think listening to SRA victims is so important, because these people are talking about a lot of the abuse that they've suffered. I mean, stuff that logically, I don't even want to believe. These underground areas and fucking giants, that stuff's written in the Bible. Like, I don't necessarily want to believe it, but it's kind of being, not, I don't know what the word is, like forced to believe in it. It's just, it's like, this lifestyle is just really, or our world is a lot different than what we know. And soulless consumerism has been a part of the greatest distraction towards spiritual growth and gain. And so all of, these platforms like Amazon has just continuously supported soulless consumerism. And then when you look at the buildings, so if you just type in Amazon headquarters, you just see these glass brick buildings. And I've talked about this before. That's part of the one world architecture. It'll be the same glass building or skyrise that you'll see in Virginia, in Seattle, in Japan, in Berlin, in London, in Dubai. I mean, it's becoming one. So anyways, if you need any more encouragement to cancel your Prime membership or stop shopping on this demonic platform, this would be it. All right, have a great one. Bye-bye.